On this episode, we talked about games, patch 8.1.5, being creative, and more. Let's start the GNOME train.
Welcome to FrazlCast, a podcast by a Blizzard fan gnome about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. I promise you, they do talk about the World of Warcraft. They just go off the rails sometimes.
Hello, Internet. It is Frazley the Awesome Gnome. Oh, wait, hold on. That's my gnome voice.
Each week, I am joined by awesome people from Azeroth and beyond. Let's use my customized ultra-safe transporter to head on over to meet up with this week's guests. I am joined by Spazz Wesson. Pirate Pooch came down with the sickness. We are definitely sorry that Pirate Pooch was not able to make it. They messaged me today saying that they were sick, so definitely feel better, buddy. And I'm hoping to have you on with the episode with Scruffy. So as long as you don't get sick again, that episode definitely it's going around. I was sick earlier. But yeah, tonight we are joined by Spazz. Hey, Spazz.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. And you know, I was talking with somebody. Technical issues with stuff, it just helps you get better at just going with it and not worrying about all the issues, not worrying about things that happen, because life has issues. And I've learned a lot from all this stuff. But you know what time it is at Epic?
It's time to go around the table.
Great idea. So what have you been up to recently?
Not much, really. Just enjoyed the holidays, got back to work. Just playing a lot of games, really. I scored the Platinum Trophy in Spider-Man on PS4. That was definitely fun.
Nice.
I've officially completed everything, like quest-wise in Monster Hunter World. I'm still not Monster Rank 100, so Hunter Rank 100, so I still need to keep playing that.
Absolutely. I've seen a lot of Monster Hunter. It's one of those I've wanted to play. I just haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I played it back when it was on the PlayStation Portable. Just, it never really came out on any consoles I had, because it was always a 3DS sort of thing, and there was one on the Wii, but it was like, not that great. And then when they announced it was actually coming to PlayStation and then PC, it was like, finally, many years.
It's amazing. We've definitely come to the time where there are a lot less console exclusives or exclusives to one console, and it's great because then you can play the games you love and you can love the console that you love, but you don't have to be like, oh, I'm missing out on stuff because it's not there.
Yeah, but the thing with Monster Hunter was it was less of a console exclusive and more of a Japan exclusive. It didn't sell well outside of Japan on the PlayStation Portable, which is why they didn't bother making them outside of Japan after that, because at the time everybody in Japan would take the train to work and that sort of thing, so everybody had a PSP and was playing it, whereas in the US and Australia and the rest of the world, everyone was driving everywhere, so the PSP didn't sell well, the Monster Hunter games didn't sell well, so they were just like, people in Japan love them, we'll just make them in Japan, don't worry about everyone.
Yeah, and until they realized the popularity that it gained.
Yeah, I think it not being available made everyone want it, and then when they did say, let's try it on the PlayStation and PC, it sold like crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, I did find a really fun multiplayer like co-op game called Never Split the Party. It's a top-down dungeon crawler, kind of like Legend of Zelda style, but each person in the group of 4 has a different role. One person's the inventory manager, one is the person that manages the map, and one person manages the gold. And then I don't remember what the 4th role is, but if the map person is not in the same room as everyone else, no one else sees the map on their UI. And if the person who looks after all the items isn't in the room, no one can see the items that they have, like bombs and keys, sort of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's early access. I think it's free to play, like basic, but then you unlock a whole bunch of more classes if you buy the full version on Steam, I think it is. But other than that, my wife and I hosted a New Year's party for some of my close IRL guildmates, and we played a really fun board game called Evolution. You start off as a species of animal, and every turn you can evolve your species, grow the number of species you have, or start like branch off into a new species. It sounds super complicated, and at the beginning we were all looking at each other like, what the heck is this? But by the second round of play, we all knew exactly how to play. It's simple, but it's really complicated and fun when you get down to it.
It's almost like a board game version of Spore.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, actually. Pretty close.
That's cool.
But other than that, I'm trying to wrap everything up game-wise before Kingdom Hearts drops, so that's getting close.
Yeah, I was realizing that like once Kingdom Hearts comes out, that I'm probably going to be playing that quite a bit, so I'm trying to get like my Dark Iron up in level because I'm like, it's not going to have a lot of time after Kingdom Hearts comes out because this will be the first one that I hopefully will beat.
In theory, it's 2 weeks away. If the dates are correct.
Ooh.
Yeah. And actually, I just re-downloaded Destiny 2 because I just had some idle hands over the next couple of weekends.
Well, and it's probably good that you did because with Bungie taking it away. Well, no, as you said, they're not going to take Destiny 2 away from Battle.net, but they're going to keep it there. But then it does make you wonder, where are they going to take Destiny? Are they going to take Destiny 3 into Steam, Epic? I was even thinking Discord, but Nihar was talking about how the fact that, I mean, it makes sense. Discord doesn't have the same audience that even Epic and Steam have.
Yeah, but the thing is, Steam takes 30% of the sale price of every game that's on their platform. So a lot of larger developers, if they can, might look elsewhere. Like, there is a chance that the next Destiny game will be still on the Battle.net launcher. They may come to an agreement with Blizzard themselves and kind of, well, I suppose Activision owns them, so they'd have to be back in with Activision in some way. I don't know. It just depends on how they want to do the gap between 2 and 3, because obviously everyone will want their account to carry over, and they'll want all their accomplishments to carry over, just like everybody did with Destiny 1 to Destiny 2. But if it's on a different platform or it's a different way, it might not be easy to take your account and accomplishments with you.
Yeah, and that's one of the things with PC is, with console you have the same whatever the network is for the console, but PC does not have that same stability.
Yeah.
And did I hear that you've been playing Smash Brothers?
Yes, I have. I bought it on the Switch when it came out. Played a whole lot of it on New Year's Eve as well. And, just been playing it on the train here and there to and from work this week. I
was playing that with my nephew on Christmas Day, and that was a lot of fun. I have played Smash Brothers on the N64. I played it on the Wii. Didn't really play it on the Wii U. My nephew had it, but I never played it there. But I was like, okay, I have no clue what I'm doing as a mind, but I started getting the hang of it. But it's just fun. It's just fun having a character going in. The only thing is, I kept thinking that the number on the bottom, you wanted to get the higher. I'm like, oh, I forgot that if that gets higher, that's the amount of damage you're taking. So you want it to be lower.
Exactly. But the only disappointing thing about Smash Ultimate is the story mode, because previous games there was a story mode called Subspace Emissary. There was a ton of little cutscenes in it where different characters that you would have never seen together were like reacting to each other. This is specifically, there's one where Lucario from Pokemon is running down a hallway and sees like a cardboard box on the floor. He looks at it, confused, and then it cuts to his vision, and he sees Solid Snake like sitting in the box with his aura, and then he just like lifts the box up and looks at him. Those were some of the funniest things ever, and that's like the reason everyone loves Smash Brothers so much. But the newest one, Ultimate, has the story mode, as it were, in air quotes. Story mode only has 2 cutscenes, the opening cutscene and then the very end cutscene, and it's disappointed so many people, and it just makes me feel bad.
Oh, absolutely, because you have the amazing ability for some awesome scenes, and yeah, you don't see them in the same length. Do I take it that there's not a lot of in-game cutscenes either? I mean, like, because I know
there's none.
Oh,
you start the game, you get the cutscene that everybody knows, where everybody gets attacked and converted and all that, and then you land as Kirby, and then it opens the map and it shows you how much of the map you can see. And that's the start of the game, and then it just does nothing more than that.
That is disappointing. Absolutely. Wow. Oh, I guess sometimes you have to think outside the box, because sometimes if the game won't give you a story, we can have people who do their own fan-made stuff. I mean, and boxes can be good. Like I watched Bird Box. So have you heard of Bird Box at all?
Yes, I have, but I haven't seen it.
All I'll say is really good. I enjoyed it. I started watching it on Sunday, and I finished it on Monday, and I could not stop watching. I had to finish it. I finished it up right before a podcast went live on Monday, so definitely recommend it. I've been doing a lot of streaming, just kind of working on stuff. The biggest thing I found with streaming is if I turned off the viewer count, I felt less anxious and nervous. And it was one of those, like, I didn't think about, okay, how many people are actually there? Because it was more, I looked at the engagement of people, like Leo Wild. Leo Wild's been amazing. They've been engaging with chat. It's been fun. Like, and then I worked on the 8.1 work campaign on Fraz, and I don't know if I have everything done in the work campaign, but whatever was done by Monday night, I finished. So if something came out on Tuesday, I didn't finish that. And I finally got Tier 3 research, because I finally did 5 island expeditions. That one, if you could queue from anywhere, I would remember to queue for those more, because those are fun.
Yeah, those are fun. I did a ton of those when I was like fresh 120 with a couple of my friends. We just queued up for a bunch of them 1 week, and then did a bunch the next week to get like the Azerite power for them. We had tons of fun, and I didn't even realize that was like one of the research things that people could miss, in air quotes, to be like, I just didn't think of doing that, so I didn't get the upgrade, so I didn't have the chance to do the other upgrades, sort of thing.
Yes, and I got to go back now and get the ones past to be. Well, I think now I got to do some more war fronts. So there's a lot of things I'm still behind on Frazley, but that's also because I've been playing my Dark Iron. So Fowram is now 116, and I got my Dark Iron Heritage Armor. Seek that 85 on Twitch. They told me about looking at the Dark Iron costume from the side, and look at the helmet. It is a duckbill. I now call it Dark Iron Duck. It's DuckTales. Woo! And I finished Dustfar. So working on Storm Song Valley with there. And then Manx is 24. I've been doing gnome streams with Michaels. Overall, I'm enjoying WoW, finding my own fun with it. I was saying that, like, I don't raid. I don't do some of the other stuff like I'm collecting. Like, my hope for the year is to get the Lore Master stuff. So I'm looking at all the things that are in the game and enjoying that.
Oh, actually, come to think of it, I did over the holidays get the Shaman class mount. Ooh. Because my I never leveled my Shaman because it was a high mountain Tauren. I was leveling it before they did the big squish, and then after they did the squish, I was getting pretty much one shot by everything at like level 60 something, and it was really painful. I had to wait a fair while for them to do some of the adjustments before I could play him again. But I did get the heritage armor for the high mountain, which looks awesome. Oh, absolutely.
I've been impressed with all the armor. Like, that's the fun thing is I want to go through and now and get some other races that I haven't done.
I'm hoping bring out the Night Elf heritage armor soon.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not like a burning thing from Telltale. I'm sorry. I'm an Alliance player and I make Telltale burning jokes.
Yeah. Although I am curious what the Pandaren and then also what the gnome heritage armor would look like.
I believe the gnome, if I'm remembering right, is a lot of like gizmos and stuff like that. So it's very Gnomeregan looking. So I'm excited for that.
Who knows? Maybe you'll have to go into Gnomeregan to get it at some point.
Ooh, I would love that. I'm all for that. I'm definitely looking forward to when they bring out the next 2 allied races, because patch 8.1.5 is on the PTR.
Yes.
The Kultiran and Zandalari trolls are coming in there. We're going to get the Crucible Storm raid content. So it'll probably unlock after the raid opens up. It's on its own raid cycle. I think Seek That 85 was saying that probably patch 8.1.5 will come out in 1 to 2 months, which makes sense because it's on PTR. They have to tune it. It's still a pretty hefty patch for being a 1.5 because we're going to get the story. We're going to get new collectibles and new raiding with Alicia's, which will be Mist of Pandaria. And I find the Mist of Pandaria stuff interesting because I was talking with Zephyriah last night about some stuff like Pandaria and finding out that Pandaria is the corpse of a Titan. So I'm like, okay, so the Pandaria has a lot of stuff with these old gods. And they're bringing in the Portal Room, the Dark Moon roller coaster. We're going to get WoD time walking dungeons, Arathi Basin Brawl. Wintergrass is coming back as an epic battleground. Brawlers Guild comes back, and then Micro Holiday. So there's a lot of stuff in it, surprisingly, for a small patch. And this is also we're going to get the Warsong Gulch and Arathi Basin improvements.
Yes. Actually, have you seen the Kultiran Shaman totems yet?
No, let me look at...
They look awesome. They look like the Kultiran like crest.
Oh, they do. They look really awesome.
Yeah, I know Cinder is really happy with them. And the heritage armor just looks awesome as well.
Oh, that's why I'm actually turning my Night Elf Druid into a Kultiran. I decided that I'm going to roll a Kultiran on Argent Dawn Realm, and it's going to be a shaman, because I was like, hey, I'll do a shaman. Oh, and I was thinking these totems that cements it. I want to do a Kultiran shaman to get the armor, but then I'm going to race change my Night Elf Druid Thunda into a Kultiran, because to be a Druid, the Druid forms and the heritage armor, I mean, just to be all that, and then you can kind of be like a pirate Druid. I was like, oh, I'm all for that. And then, yeah, the mob raids, like they're going to have like a little pet Shaw for the raiding with leashes. So I'm really excited for...
yeah, the little Shaw of happiness.
Like, that is amazing. Because I've always loved like the different like elementals from Mist. I got a Giggling Flame from Island Expeditions. It's so cute.
Have you done the Shaman Class Hall campaign?
Not yet. So that'll be one that I'll do on the Kultiran. I've not done Shamans, and I keep meaning to. So now that'll be my next thing to do once the Kultiran's unlock. Yeah,
so with the Shaman Class 4 campaign, you actually have to essentially reorganize the elemental planes, because of what we've done in previous expansion has caused some big problems. The fact that there's no Fire Lord is a problem. The fact that, what was his name? The Wind Lord that got turned into Thunder Fury, he's gone. That's a problem. A whole bunch of stuff like that happens. My favorite thing, though, is when you go to the plane of fire, the head shaman that's talking to you is like, okay, so there are two elementals who are currently fighting to be the Fire Lord. One of them hates humans less, so we're going to go with him. And I love that that's his reasoning for it. It's like, one of them hates people less and will talk to us, the other will not, so let's go talk to him.
That is awesome. I love that. The lesser of the two evils, absolutely.
Essentially.
Humans will only maybe 85% die compared to 95% die with the with this one. Oh, and I was expecting you to say like, and then Nomi shows up to cook meals for the Fire Lords.
Well, I guess maybe if they like it that burnt, I don't know.
Yeah. And then did you see that Stan Lee is coming into WoW as a tribute, that they're doing a tribute to Stan Lee and they're calling him Stanley?
Yes, I saw that. And have you seen Into the Spider-Verse?
No, not yet.
Okay, that movie is his final cameo. And at the end of it, they also have like an in memoriam for him. I've only seen it once, but from everything I've heard, everyone just absolutely breaks down when he starts talking. And he's only in the movie for about like 30 seconds.
Wow.
It definitely brings a tear to your eye when you see him in that movie.
I had just seen him in Spider-Man Homecoming. I saw that one for the first time, and then I think a week later he passed, and that was one like we had all remarked like, oh wow, Stan Lee's looking really good. I mean, in that cameo, and they're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Peculiar WoW had said that when Stan Lee walks into the keep, he yells out Excelsior.
Yes, he does.
That is amazing, Blizzard. And what's fun is like there's probably like pop culture references to Marvel inside of WoW. Geeks love superheroes. I mean, it is a perfect way to give him a legacy too. So I love it, and I love that they, compared to some of the recent homages, they were open that this is Stan Lee. I mean, even the model looks like a custom model for this one. I mean, he has the glasses, the face. I mean, like it looks amazing. Stan Lee's definitely inspired people to be creative. He's inspired people to give different opinions on things. Has Stan Lee inspired you?
Yes, a lot. Yeah, a lot of the stuff he has created has inspired me.
You have made a lot of podcasts. I first started hearing you on Reign of Azeroth, and that was one that I would like listen to that, and it got me excited for collectibles and mounts. it was always fun to hear like what Cinder and you found each week, and like, oh, we found this. Like I cheered for you when you got that one collection edition and then I tried going to eBay and I couldn't find it. So I'm happy and also jealous of like all the awesome stuff you have.
Yeah.
Did I hear a rumor that you're bringing a podcast back?
At the moment, it's kind of up in the air, vaporware, because I'm quite busy with work and a lot of IRL stuff, but I'm trying.
Oh, I definitely get the schedule of work. It was one of those I did not realize till I started how much work it is. I mean, there's a lot to it. There's a lot more that you don't see until you start podcasting. Mm-hmm. What was the biggest challenge you've had to overcome?
At first, it was where to start, because we had a topic. It's like, well, where do we start? Because there's 300, 400, 500 of mounts in the game. But then on top of that, it was, what do we do as things evolve and change? Because obviously, if you focus on something so narrow like that, at some point you'll run out of things to talk about, and that's when you have to evolve and change or just stop. The main thing was trying to figure out what was next. I
would definitely say that like that's one thing that I found with this show is I've morphed some of its stuff. I even added the geeky stuff for like the weeks that we can't talk a lot about. Wow, we can move into other topics every week, having that passion for something to do it. And what would you say is the best thing that has happened to you since you started?
Probably all the friends I've made through the communities and the other shows and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I would definitely echo that. I've found that like some of my best friends are podcasters. I mean, I think I met you as a listener, but then through talking to you after I started the podcast, I would talk with you about like questions and stuff like that, and you've been a encouragement to me on that in a lot of ways. That community is one of the things that keeps me going too. And if you were to do this over again, what is the first thing you would do?
Very first thing I would do is send that first message to Cinder the exact same way that I did. If I was to change and do something different to go back, it probably would have been to, instead of doing hour-long podcasts, to try and maybe do like bite-sized 20-30 minute episodes, but maybe do 2 a week. Because we realized that as each show was about an hour, further down the track it got harder and harder to fill that hour. I feel like, especially talking about something so specific, like if we could have done 20 minutes on something more specific, then it would have been easier for people to find, easier to produce in the long run, and then it would have kind of changed around the longevity of the show.
It would have given each show that focus.
Definitely.
Yeah, I've noticed that with like certain podcasts that it's easier for me as a listener if I know that episode has this, and I've tried to do that with this. Like I started with like 3-hour plus episodes, and I've scaled that back.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Even as a listener, like I have just shy of an hour journey in the morning. Actually, it's about an hour and 10 minutes, including the drive and then the walk to and from the train station. So any podcast that comes in just under an hour and 10 minutes is perfect for the morning or perfect for the afternoon. But sometimes it's like, oh, it's an hour and a half, so I have to listen to it, and then I have to listen to the rest of it on my lunch break. And then for me, it's a lot easier I can pick up pretty much instantly where I left off, which I feel like I got from playing so many video games, having to stop what I'm doing, do something else, and then come back and being like, oh, I remember exactly where I was. I remember exactly what I was doing, even though it was 3-4 days ago. But some people can't do that. Like they'll start listening and they're like, what the hell are they talking about? I'll just go back 10 minutes. No, I still don't know what they're talking about. I'll go back a little more. Like it's just a bit of a weird thing that way.
Oh, absolutely. And what is the best piece of advice anyone has ever given you?
The best piece of advice came from a whole bunch of different people. Kevin Smith, who does his own podcasts, Scott Johnson, Pat Krane, just all of them just say, if you want to do it, just do it. Stop saying next week. Start it today. Start a Google Doc right now. Start typing in that Google Doc right now. And at the end of the show that you're listening to right now, organize it. Figure out who you want as a friend, like who you want on the show, where you're going to host it, where you're going to record it. Do it now. Don't wait till next week, because next week something will come up that'll have you put it off till next month, and so on and so forth.
And it's definitely, once you start, keep at it, because I've had some projects that I need to get back to, and I stop 1 week and I don't get on it.
Yeah, consistency is the other thing, obviously.
I started this show on a whim. It was one of those, I had the idea for a long time. I wanted to do it. I didn't have the exact idea what the show was, but I just started it, and I've had to learn all the way along. But I'm glad I didn't wait till I had everything all together, because I don't think I've had everything together. I'm still sometimes don't think I have everything together yet.
I have another piece of advice. Don't be afraid to reach out.
Yes.
You may reach out to like Pat or Scott on their shows. You might not get a response. You might not, depending on how busy they are. But reach out to someone like myself or Frazley, or somebody that's, well, I don't want to say smaller, because, well, I suppose everything's smaller compared to the instance. Reach out to smaller creators that you can make a more personal connection with. And if you have a problem, just be like, hey, do you use OBS or do you use XSplit? I'm having problems with OBS. And if they're like, I use XSplit, I don't use OBS, you can be like, do you know someone who does that? Because I'm having some problem. Don't be afraid to reach out. And if you get no response, just don't feel bad. Like a job interview.
I would definitely echo that, because if you have questions, reach out to me. I try to be open to as many people as I can. The thing I would add on to that too is reach out, but also don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to try stuff. What's amazing when you experiment, then when that person reaches out to you, they'll be like, oh, that makes so much more sense.
Definitely.
It is amazing the people that I've reached out to who have responded back, and it's sometimes been farther off, and because they're busy. So it's sometimes not always a immediate response.
Yeah, so like one of the big things for me was I had a Blue Snowball mic, and it is the most sensitive thing ever. So I actually went online and found a very obscure program called Virtual Audio Cables. At the time, I was using TeamSpeak. So what I did was I used virtual audio cables to set up 2 fake cables in my computer. I then logged into TeamSpeak twice, one as me and one as the microphone. And then I wired my cables around so that the microphone went through a virtual cable into Audacity, and then my voice went into the microphone into TeamSpeak, and then the microphone would be in the same chat channel. And so it would just listen to me. That's how I got around the sensitivity issue of the microphone. I looked everywhere online to try and figure out what's the best way to do the sensitivity. And everyone's just like, oh, if you have this version of the Snowball, you can do X, Y, Z. But I had the older version that didn't have those options. And so it's just like, I have no idea how to fix this problem, but I managed it somehow.
Oh yeah, and it sometimes feels like it's a bunch of like spitballs put together for stuff. I mean, I'm finally, yes, absolutely. That's one of the reasons why I'm so glad that I'm now on the Go XLR. It has made things a lot easier for my life.
Actually, I did purchase a Stream Deck for myself a little while ago when I was streaming. I plugged it into my computer and it didn't work. And I was like, what the heck's going on? Oh, it's not compatible with Windows 7.
Oh.
So I gave it to my wife. So she uses it when she does art. So she's got all the custom commands set up on it for while she's doing her art when she's working on her computer with her tablet and stuff. So
nice.
At some point I'll upgrade my computer and steal it back from her. So
well, I mean, it's so nice because I can go to a picture of me. I can go to a picture of you. I can go back to the picture of us. It has been one of those tools that I bought it for $100 during a sale one day, and
I got it during that sale as well, like ages ago.
It is essential now for what I do, so it's awesome.
Actually, here's a question: do you have the Gnome Train sound effect attached to one of the buttons?
No, but I do have it on the Go XLR.
Fair enough.
So Spazz, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. Where can we find you on the interweb?
The main place to find me is on Twitter at Spazz Wesson. I do have a Twitch channel that's Spazz_Wesson. Due to IRL, I don't really stream much. A bit of watching, but not a lot of streaming. Obviously, we spoke about my now defunct podcast, The Rains of Azeroth, which can be found at rainsofAzeroth.com. The Twitter for that's still up. It's at Rains of Azeroth. I believe Cinder, myself, and my wife Sirius are still attached to that account. So if you tweet at us with, if you actually have any questions, we still do keep an eye on that account. Off the top of my head, I believe it's Josh Parrish. He's still been tweeting at us with all the mounts that he's been getting, which is really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, other than that, that's about it. The secret project that I'm working on is still being worked on. Not much really to say about that at the moment, sadly.
But when it comes, it'll come at us like a hurricane, right?
Of course. Going to drop like a spirit bomb. I've been saving up so much energy to actually work on it.
It came in like a wrecking ball.
Perfect.
Well, I think with that, I'm going to head back to the Iron Forge. I'm back at my home of Iron Forge until we one day reclaim Gnomergon. Well, that has been another packed episode of FrazlCast. I was on Zephyr's Adventure episode 17. I had a great time, and I have a link in the show notes to the episode. We talked about podcasting, WoW, old gods being corpses of Pandaria, and more. So definitely check it out. And thank you to Pat for the sub this week. Every bit, sub, follow, chat, every bit of that is very encouraging, and I thank everybody that has been following me on the journey. And Pirate Poots wasn't able to make it tonight, but I'm hoping to have them on the 131 show. They do an awesome job with art. They've made the server image for me, the Twitch emotes, and the new sub badges. Commissions are open for them if you want some awesome art. I thank Kick Tripod, who introduced me to them, and I am so glad that they did. Well, I am Frazley, and you can find the show at gnomepodcast.com. Until next week, be awesome.
Reconfirm Buxley prior to departure. Buxley here to answer your World of Warcraft questions in this edition of Ask Buxley. I've got a lot of questions this week, and I don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to just give answers out. When I call out your name, I'm going to give you your answer. This answer is for Trigonosis. The reason his beard is green is that he doesn't wash it. The reason he has antlers is because he once headbutted an elk and they got stuck that way. This answer is for Angioplasty. If you don't like the fish repeating themselves, just move on to the next fishing spot. Trout Nose, your answer is, that's because gnomes like skydiving pretty much more than anything else in the world. They're just not good at ground landing, so wear some really good boots. Ingersoll, your answer is 5 times a day, sometimes 6 times a day. Well, hardly ever more than 20. Oh, okay, once up to 60, and the record is 87. But that guy spent the next month in a hospital suspended in water. Kubla, this is your answer. Yes, always pick the better one. You'll do better in battle, you'll find questing a lot easier, not to mention you'll become a better cook. Randolph? Yes, most of the time. Mortimer? No, hardly ever. Billy Ray? Absolutely. Stuff like that happens to me all the time too. And finally, Maximilian, this is your answer. Hold it right up to the light. If it's got a picture of an orc during battle with a human with 1,000 screaming Tarns on one side and 1,000 screaming gnomes on the other side, all bathed in blue with white overlays and a background of clouds and music coming out of both ends, it's definitely a fake. Get rid of it as soon as possible. Thanks for your questions. If you'd like to know what I've been up to every day, follow Ask Buxley on Twitter. If you like the segment, please take the time and rate it on iTunes.
Time is money, friend.
Welcome to the Fraz Report, a short broadcast by me, the Awesome Gnome, about the World of Warcraft. Okay, let's see what my intern put on the docket today. Sorry, I should be more prepared for this. Illidan? I know. Wait, aren't you over in Argus? How are you? Nah, never mind. Don't question the logic of that joke. Okay, first thing. Apparently the Zandalar treasury was broken into by thieves. Authorities say nothing of value was stolen. The only thing damaged was their reputation. They've assured everybody that they put in more security measures for the future. Next up. Spencer Newman, Activision Blizzard CFO, was terminated and now is CFO of Netflix. Oh, that reminds me. Netflix has a new movie called Bird Box. I watched it, I found it very entertaining, and it made me think a lot about some of the underlying messages. The challenges people have been doing on social media have also been very interesting to watch. Very dangerous too. I mean, trying to do things blindfolded. You know, though, I saw on Reddit there's a new WoW challenge called the Blindfolded Leveling Challenge. This one's not as dangerous because it's just in-game. You try to play the game and level a character while blindfolded. Each time you die, you have to delete your character. You know what? Let's try that. I'm a journalist. Okay, log in the game. Okay, character rolled. I went for Gnome Warrior because I know that one. Okay, putting blindfold on right now. I should know where everything is in the starting area, so I think this should be good.
Given the recent political upheaval in Ironforge, the gnomes have suddenly found themselves unwelcomed guests within the city.
Okay, it's the intro.
Leveraging their ingenious technologies and unquenchable spirit for adventure, the gnomes have begun to reevaluate their role within Cosmodon. Under the inventive leadership of High Tinker Gelbin Mechatork, the gnomes now plan a daring campaign against the barbarous Trogs to retake their former capital of Gnomrigon. With the odds stacked against them, the gnomes are counting on brave heroes such as you to stand and be counted. Your people's greatest hour draws near.
Okay, the music changed. Okay, I think I can do this. Okay, going forward, I hear music. Okay, I don't know where I'm at. Okay, I hear walking, so I'm moving somewhere, but I could be walking into a wall. Okay, I hear people being attacked. I hear fighting. Something right in front of me. Okay. Trying to attack stuff. I can't see anything. Yeah, I know I'm in Gnomrigon. I know that. Okay. Now they're getting farther away. Okay, I need to take the blindfold off. I'm walking into a wall. Hey, guess what? I did not get out of the main area. Okay, I guess I can't do that. Well, that was a series of unfortunate events. I couldn't even get out of the starting room in Gnomrigon. This did get me intrigued, though, about if you could play WoW if you are blind. And I found some players who are blind, and they play WoW. I also found a very cool Reddit thread with a player who put together a guide on how to play blind. They talk about add-ons and scripts to run to help understand what is going on. I have a link in the show notes.
Frazley today learned he should have been more prepped. Sorry, Eldon, I didn't let you use your phrase. Prepped here means to be more prepared. Oh no.
You are not prepared.
Well, I am Lemon Snickers. If you wish to do a challenge, visit wowchallenges.com for real challenges you can do, like the Iron Man, not to be confused with Iron Maiden, the Bloodthirsty, Green Man, not to be confused with Green Day, Pacifist, and Tin Man, which does not involve being a character made of metal that rusts. Frazley didn't even get time to talk about patch 8.1.5 being rolled out to PTR. There will be a link in the show notes about this. Ah well, guess he was short on time. You may commence facepalming now. To quote Mr. Sparkspan, until next time, be awesome.
FrazlCast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment. Views expressed by the host and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard games and are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended.
Want more awesomeness every week? Visit weeklyawesome.com. Weekly podcasts to make your week better. Remember to smile and be awesome.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.